عيسى bring blue pens always. Most of our academic program is linked to the workshop. So we are doing workshops that people feel glimpse the depth of the academic program. Okay, so I thank you for coming, especially those who attended that for us many times, especially the three of you. I think you came before one time? But that I know that these guys always attend, and thank you, because the more you attend, besides it's it is let's say a free knowledge. It's not about free knowledge, it's also about how much you can build on that for your life and so on. Now the workshop today, the purpose of the workshop today is we want to see how our mindset is working. So if we understand how our mindset is working, then it's an everyday exercise actually. Every day we discover how much we are weak in discovering our mindset. The most difficult thing in life is not the husband or the wife, not the children, not money, okay? It is the mindset. It is the thing that through it we do everything in life. We see people, how they are reacting, and we react to them and so on. For that it is very important that we know that our mindset does not change without being interacting with other people. So I'm sure that our sister Odette, for example, her mindset is more flexible than maybe many other people because she deals with many people. The more you deal with many people, you start to associate things, the more your mindset is changing over time. Okay? About certain people, for example, certain group and so on. Okay? We say that if you want to do a real socio-economic development, not socio-economic projects, no, socio-economic development, okay? Not socio-economic empowerment, no, socio-economic development, you need to have control of your mindset. They are very related, okay? And today you learn more of medical, physics, management, as much as you can. If it's a few hours, only you're going to stay 3 hours approximately. But in these 3 hours, we try to give you some glimpse of the depth of the issue of the mindset and how it works and so on. So, as always we say, that we have our programs, and if you notice our programs are all relevant to physical, something physical. Okay? And inspiration economy, always I say, physical is relevant to mental. The more we are physical with things, and we are near people that we care about, the more we can solve their problems. Okay, always I give example of my mother. When I lived with my mother for full time, for about 3 years, especially before and during the corona, I experienced my mother, even though she started to have dementia, but I brought many concepts also about this type of disease because I lived with my mother. So the more you live with people, with the poor, if you want to solve the poverty, you have to live with the poor. You have to experience poverty. You have to see what is poverty is and so on, so that you can. So these programs are all brought because of what we see is that the mindset is the problem, and we try to change the mindset through these programs, even though they look that they are economy programs. Okay. And as I said, this is we've been doing this work in more than 38 countries, and we are proud, and we see that now our programs started to be reflected by others. Others maybe they call it other programs, but alhamdulillah, we believe that our programs is causing some changes in the world. Okay, so what is about changing the mindset or managing the mindset? This is our 9th workshop. I wanted to call this slide realizing the mindset, but frankly, to be humble, you can't realize the mindset now. Because this is a small workshop, it is not practical, even though we'll do some practical maybe later, but it's not a lot of practical. And you realize things only when you start to know that you can put the concept into reality. You know that your mindset can be changed because you do this project or that project. And maybe the exercise today, I'll try to do that with you, and then we do some exercise relevant to taking a project and how this will affect our mindset. Or I want to change my mindset, what type of project I'm going to take? Vice versa. So shaping the mindset of any individual, community, and so on, it process can be long term, but can be also short term. If you go, for example, if you get a shock in your life, it can be short term. It changes your mindset. A shock from outside, a shock about your life, a shock about incident, accident. Okay, all it can also. But the most important thing is that no sustainable development in any country if the country or the people or the community, their mindset is fixed. Okay. The more we have flexible mindset, the more we are going to do a sustainable development projects. So now, very important we understand what is the brain, what is the mind, and what is the mindset. As I told you, it's like more of anatomy and biology, or if you are in medical school, it's physiology actually class. Okay. So the brain, we're going to talk about it more, but the brain is one of the parts of the bodies, right? So we have our part of the body, you know, our system, right? The digestive system, we have the nervous system, and one of the systems that is controlling the nervous system is the brain. And the brain is made from 4 lobes, which I am going to explain later. Okay. This brain is the most important tool for us, okay, to start to, this is the machine. It is like the computer. So the computer itself is the brain, okay? But the software is what we call the mind, okay? So the mind is the software of the brain. The mind is the tool for the brain to work. The brain itself can't work. It can sense, okay, but it cannot work without the mind. Now, can we see the mind? No, the mind is not physical there. But now the studies, because of MRI, because I am a bioengineer and my medical physics, now we started to see how the mind controls the brain. We put people and make them react, and we call it functional MRI. Okay, so the people started to know now there is a mind. Yes, it was before a theory. Now the mind has been proven it is there. Why? Because the brain of someone can change very quickly when they start to give them, for example, something to react with. They put a screen in front of them, they make them react, they make them angry, they make them not sleep, and they start to see how the mind works. Okay, so the mind is like giving fires, okay, about feeling, about notice, about trust, about observing, okay. It is the very important tool. It is the tool that will help us to develop. So the brain itself will not develop without the mind. Okay? And the mind will make the more we use our mind, the more our brain will start shaping. Physically. This brain starts to be shaping. They started to see it physically in MRI. Okay, they call it functional MRI. Okay, studies, and this is what brought what we call neurosciences, which is we are very near to. Inspiration economy, behavior economy, resilience economy, all about this, techniques of neurosciences and economy, how we make these things together. Okay, this is very important for both of you, as a researcher or as a professor, and you know this, and this is where we can always focus on the class, or this is our theme. We should not be busy with the outcome, we should be busy with the input first. The more we have the input clear for the students, the more the outcome will be clear. Now, the most important thing for the mind is the mindset. So, the brain will bring the sources for the mind. The mind will bring something, create something over time. Okay. Now, this one cannot work without this. They have parallel with each other. Okay. They cannot work without them. If you don't have a mind, you don't have a brain, even though it is physically there. When they say someone lost his or her mind, okay, they don't say that he lost his brain. The brain is there, but he lost his mind. Okay, or his mind is not working properly. Dementia, the disease for elderly people, is about what? Problem in the mind. Cannot connect things together. Okay. Now the problem with this thing, over time, this mind starts to accumulate things together. Accumulate. So it starts with here, then it goes here, then it goes here. What is it creating? creating something called a mindset. And this starts from day one of our birth. Okay? If, for example, I take a breast from my mother from my first day, and I see it's salty, so I don't start not to like milk. From that day, I start not to like milk that much. That much the study is now saying. If the mother is angry and she's feeding me, she's angry, I'll be angry over time. Okay, that much there are studies now, it's proven, through, as I told you, many techniques like neuro sciences, like functional MRI and so on. What is the mindset? The mindset is the collection of four things, which is I mentioned in many my previous workshops. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yes, my son. Remind me your name? Huh? No, tell me one simple name. Simple.
Bosco.
Huh?
Bosco.
Bosco is easy. Good, very good. Yes, Bosco. Yes.
The mind is comprised of four things.
Yes.
Assumption.
Yes.
Attitude.
Yes.
Behavior.
Yes.
And reflection.
And?
Reflection.
Excellent. Herwan, this guy should always attend free, even for our workshop with money.
Okay. Yeah.
Very good. Give him applause for Bosco. Okay. So can we repeat? Who can repeat, Ali? My mindset is made from?
Four things.
Which is?
Perception,
Yes.
attitudes,
Yes.
behavior,
Yes.
and reflection.
Yeah. Very important, and we know the sequence. Okay. That even today, when we talk about this sequence. Okay. So the assumption. Okay. The assumption is what controls the what? The attitude. Okay. And the attitude is what control? The behavior. And the behavior is what control? Reflections. Okay. So when we see someone is his reflection is about something is bad or good, it means his assumption is what is affecting him because it's going this way, this way, this way. So it's going towards the assumption. Okay. The problem is that this assumption is the most difficult to change. Okay. So if we want to change something, it's very difficult because why? Because of our assumptions. Because as we said, what is the problem with this? It accumulates over time. It doesn't change very quickly, easily. It happened, it changed, but not easily. Okay? Let them sit here. Here, here. Welcome. Is this clear? So we'll repeat again to the benefit of guys who came now. We are talking about brain, mind, mindset. Which one is the one which is the control the brain? Which one is controlling the brain? The mindset. And which one is controlling the mind? No. Which one is controlling the brain is the mind. Which one is controlling the mindset? Okay. No. It is the mind. Which one is controlling the mindset is the mind. Okay. Because the mind is the one who's giving the acceptance and so on. So for example, always I give this example which is easy. Okay, and this might be in reality because I used to be afraid from dogs. If one dog was bitten me, or I was going to be bitten by a dog when I was young, I will believe that all the dogs in the world is dangerous. So once I come near the dog, my heart starts to beat. Okay, I still have this problem with my wife. I overcome this. Okay, because I travel a lot around the world, I had to live with that issue. So over time, I started to hide. Some people, they go to training to change that, right? So the most important is...
Is it the one?
Sorry?
The mindset.
It is the mindset. The mindset, because why? Because the mindset has something very important, which is what? The assumptions. Okay? The assumption is what we call, some people call it paradigm, right? You heard about the word paradigm. Okay? How you see life. It is the glasses, same the glasses, now we are putting glasses. It is the glasses we see through it. Okay? So this is what is control our mind. It's like a glass that makes us see the side of everything through this thing. Without this, okay, and if this was always positive, this will be Always the attitude will be positive, the behavior will be positive, and the reflection will be positive. Okay, and for that you see some people, they are always positive. Okay, mashallah, Dr. Emmanuel. Sometimes I bombard him, but still he cooled down and he said, okay, this is something that he maybe learn over time, or maybe because this is what is the way he see life from a long time. Okay, so this is very important, and we see these three things. Look, why I'm talking about this in a socio-economic problem solving or socio-economic development program? Okay, because without them, we will not know how to deal with any project properly. For example, many people, they believe, and including my sister Odette, I think, and Ali, is that without money and enough money, I cannot do a project. Okay, because it's complex, because it has lots of problems, because there are lots of beneficiaries and so on. But once your mindset start to change because you have gone through different experience, you start maybe to believe better than me. I believe is that without $300, change is very difficult. So that for that I put $300, not $500, not $600, not 1,000, not 10,000. I minimize, but I said without $300, very difficult to make a project, to change. Real project that bring outcome. Okay? But most people, the projects I'm doing, they believe it shouldn't be done less than $10,000. Because this is their assumptions, this is what they were. If you've been trained that you can't, fly without a certain amount, then you will not fly even. Okay? And most of the developed countries, they want the developing countries like us, our countries, not to fly. They want us always to be dependent on them. For that, one of the syndrome in Rwanda is what? You are totally dependent on, most of the dependent on what? Donations. Okay? We are saying no, we should be going towards your own independence through projects, through trying to change the community with minimal donations. Over time, for example, if someone now telling me, this is again, see the mindset, how it's different. If someone telling me, my brother is telling me that I have done lots of projects with people with visual impairment. We call them visual impaired, not the blind people. Okay, this is the right word. Okay, I'm not sure here. You call it same thing? Yeah. Okay. Yes. Or visual impairment. Okay. I have done so many projects with the number of with that number of visual impaired. My question will be, what projects you have done? See, this is what is an answer for what you have submitted. It's not about how much you do. It is about the way you do it, the outcome. Okay, it's not how many people I did for them training and so on. You might do a training, but people might not change. Yeah. We need the change. We need the change element. Exactly. Thank you, Odette. Okay, so this is very important as an introduction. Do you have questions before we go? Because this is very important introduction. So we're talking about my brother now. We are talking about the brain, the mind, and the mindset. Three things. Okay. And we said that what is can the brain function without the mind? Yes? Can the brain function without the mind? No. Okay. It is there. It will work, but it will work only through software. The software is what? The computer is good, strong computer. Okay. But it is without the software, it cannot function. Okay. It needs also sometimes a good software. Okay. And then it needs also, if your mind is strong and you are very clever, but your mindset is not good, it's negative. Because you see that everything is difficult or everything cannot be done except with a lot of money. Then, can you change the world really? No, you'll be always a tool. So what's happening to most NGOs in Rwanda? They are a tool for other NGOs, international NGOs. So international NGOs, they say we want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And everybody go and submit from them. So what you are doing, you are working not because you see something for Rwanda is more important, because they see something more important for Rwanda than you. So see the difference? And this is where we say it's very important and we think in a different way. And we hope our students, Dr. Emmanuel, that they start to see things in a different way. This will not come by coincidence unless they start to understand how they manage their mindset. Okay. So for, as we said, it's going from the opposite now. The mindset control the mind, and the mind control the brain. Okay, I'm taking longer time for that. And as I said, the mind will start to collect things that will push it to the mindset. The collection started here. The collection of the assumptions and so on. I go back. Okay, see this one? The feeling, the breathe, the listening, the trust. Okay, to allow things to come into your body or to your mind. Okay, to really want to be proactive. All will help you to, over time, to collect your assumptions, your attitude, your reflections, your behavior, which over time will create your mindset. So the accumulation of the assumption, the accumulation of the attitude, because even the attitudes, they start to build assumptions, new assumptions. If your attitude does not change, and people are, when they tell them, oh, Harwa, you have changed since you joined CS. If Harwa feel this is a shame, okay, then she will always resist change. So her assumptions will not change. But if I should be, as a human, very proud and I'm changing. Okay? I personally say I changed even since I came to Rwanda. If 1 year since I came to Rwanda exactly. If I don't change 1 year, it means I'm not a person who's learning. My learning abilities it means my mind is actually weak, not only my mindset. Okay? So this is very important and we think in different ways. Now we talk about the brain. The brain is made from 4 things. Okay? 4 loops. Okay, not 2 because they say there is only 2. They say right and left hemisphere, right? But the brain is made from 4 things. Okay, 4 loops. These 4 loops, approximately they are similar to each other, approximately. But the most important one and the biggest one you will see is what? Which one was the last one? The frontal lobe. The frontal lobe, it is here. Okay? The frontal lobe, it is here. Okay? And the frontal lobe, it is very important is that we take care about it. Because it is the door. Without it, it is the door and the windows actually. There is only one door, and this door is the frontal lobe. If you want to start to change yourself, to change your mindset, to change your behavior, to change your attitude, change your reflection, okay, it's all start with the frontal lobe. Because it is the main tool that God has differentiated us from the nearest animal to us, which is what is the one available in Musanzi? The gorilla. The nearest animal to us is the gorilla, okay? And we'll see that always the frontal lobe is more developed in humans than the nearest animal to us. Okay, even though they are in size, but our frontal lobe is stronger compared to our size. In size, not only in height. Why is in size? Because its capacities means more. So maybe you buy a computer, which is a good one, okay, but you don't use even maybe 1% of it. It's your problem. So here, God has given you this frontal lobe, but our humans are not using even 10% of it. Even the most clever, even Einstein, when they studied his brain and they take, he donated his brain, they find the fire, how they discover that? From the cortex. The cortex is the external part of the brain. They find that the most fires happen in just little part of the frontal lobe. Even though he's one of the most genius people that people know over time. Okay. So frontal lobe is very important because through associating we can make reasoning, we can make problem solving and so on. And through associating we start to move the other parts. Okay? So the association of the frontal lobe, the capacity to associate things, the frontal lobe, it is that will help the other parts to even flourish. Okay? So let alone, with the brain, of course, all of them, they have different functions. Okay, but I'm talking about now relevant to the mindset. Okay? So, for example, most people who's with the dementia, the problem with the mental health and so on, depression, suicidal thinking, when they do the MRI, they focus first in here, this area, in the frontal lobe. Okay? Because this is the area of how people associate things. If they see there's lots of problems in their life, and they find that this is different, then they start to see that maybe these people have suicidal thinking and so on. Okay. So if we understand that, so we have the frontal lobe, if you want the names. We have the parietal lobe, which is behind the frontal lobe directly. Below the top part of to the right side, we have the occipital lobe, okay, which is the lobe which is relevant to our brainstem, our vision, okay, and how we see things in general, or the colors and so on. And we have below the frontal lobe in the front, okay, the temporal lobe. As you notice, in the first function of everyone is very relevant to the frontal lobe. Understanding, for example, the temporal lobe is relevant to the frontal lobe. Okay? So they are very relevant to each other, and they are as I said, this is the most important one that is we are not using, unfortunately. The more we are people that is routine based, we don't want to change. The more we are, our frontal lobe is relaxed. No fires around it, okay? But it doesn't want to change, everything is routine. So they don't, and these people, 100%, a man or woman, they will not have a life purpose. Okay? Because if they had a life purpose, their mindset will be always thinking. And they will have to check their assumption, they will learn from errors. But people who don't learn from errors, will see that their frontal lobe will not be working in a proper way. So, because we are talking about the mindset, well, let's talk again, come back to the mind, which is the intermediary between the brain and the mindset, okay? Since we started to build a capacity of associating, then the mind will start to use the brain, okay? The more our mind uses the brain, because the tool of the brain is the mind. The mind, we said, physical is might be very good, healthy, but the mind is a problem. Once the mind starts to use the brain more, then our brain will start to change. Okay? And this is, they call it now in neuroscience, neuroplasty. Please Google that today. Neuroplasty. Okay? Neuroplasty, this is very important because through that we start to see now how much we are changing, and some people will put us under MRI and so on. So brain responds to the mind. Once the brain is started to be used, the brain grows and starts to respond to the mind. It's like telling me, okay, oh, I enjoyed this chocolate drink, or I enjoyed this cappuccino. Give me more, give me more, give me more. Okay? You are exciting the brain through utilizing your mind. Okay? So this mind also will start, as I said, will start to change the brain in shape also, and in capacity. And for that we have the formula. Doctor, you never asked me from where you brought the formula, capacity versus demand. Okay? So all our program is based on capacity versus demand. What is the capital-based economy formula? The capital-based economy formula is supply versus demand, right? We are saying no. Ours is about capacity versus demand. Okay, why? Because the more we raise the capacity, and you can imagine, if we were talking about community, we want the whole community to change their mind, and they change their mindset. Okay? The stronger the community have a strong mindset, the stronger they will be contributing to their country, to the world, they'll be a model, and so on. And this is what happened to the Rwandans, frankly.
We come back again to
Yes.
capital versus demand and
So when you raise the capacity of the brain, because the mind is using the brain, you are raising the capacity versus demand. And you can imagine this relevant to community. And we don't apply this to individual. I'm explaining now to individual because I want you to get engaged with projects. But we want to change the community, right? So we also stand the same thing, because the community have, by the way, doesn't have a brain, but it has a collective mind.
A collective mind.
Okay, which is a collective mindset.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see some people, for example, North African from Arab countries, they are much, let's say, hot people, or they get angry than Rwandans. Rwanda is very cool, very slow, everything is cool, right? And they always talk about things in a positive way. No, North, no, it doesn't work like this. Okay, we get some habits from that also in the Gulf countries. Okay, and we are faster also. Okay, there's a bad thing and there's a good thing. They are faster in thinking, they are faster in acting. Now, not always facts that is acting reflect a good thing, because sometimes you are wiser if you don't act on things in the same time, right? But this is what is happening, and so we know the link for that. Now, the brain do not force, people to do action itself. So who's forcing people to do action? The mind. Who's making you do action? The mind. Who's making you do assumptions over time? The mindset. Okay? Who make you assume about an action or attitude. You know the difference between attitude and behavior? Attitude is how you start to see things. Oh, how I see Victor Emmanuel. Okay? How I see him, oh, this guy like this, okay? Now my behavior towards him is the external behavior, is the correct behavior, right? The external things. Okay? So this is how we see things in general. So remember, the brain itself doesn't make people make action. The action is coming from so don't blame your brain. You say, oh, you have a stupid brain. No, you don't have a stupid brain. It's about your mind. Okay? So now, very important is that also, without the brain, see, however, see God how is created the human as a complex system. No, don't be worried about AI. They're going to copy the humans. No, they cannot copy the humans. Now what we see is about memory, capacity, and they can produce something very fast, right? But they can't copy humans, the feelings, the consciousness, and so the unconsciousness, right? When we sleep and so on. So without also the brain, we don't have consciousness. So where is the consciousness? People say in our religion, I'm sure also in Christianity here, also, it is between the heart and the brain. Someone is conscious. Now, for example, for me as a Muslim and Arab, for me now Gaza is a problem. Okay, I'm conscious about that. I can't just close my eyes and say, okay, I'm busy with my project in Rwanda and so on. My conscience is very high about that. Because I can see many people are dying. Okay, and so on. So this is example that how the brain, without it also, we will also suffer. So not undermine the brain, but I wanted to tell you that thing. There are many things about the brain the mind does not have, of course the mindset does not have. Now we come to the other slide, the outcome of associating things. So we said there is associating things, start with the mind, then the outcome of associating things is the mindset. Okay. So with the mindset around it, I put for you, for example, do you like to live with uncertainty? Do you like to go countries and you don't know what is happening tomorrow? Okay, or no? Or you want everything to be organized? Most of us, once we start to go to school, from grade 1, they start to mold us to be everything with certainty. So we need to have to memorize for our exam. We need to come to the class at certain time. We need to, do our homework, right? So everything is organized in a certainty way. So we start not to get used to uncertainty. Well, if you want to solve a problem, Sister Odette, and it is a complex problem, you have to deal with uncertainty. You have to live with failure. You have to be actually not. One of my sons, he had a good lecture in YouTube, by the way. Why you should live with the disappointments? Why you should live with disappointments? The more you live with disappointments, the more you'll be over time learning. And you see this with Einstein, you see it with Mandela, you see it with all those who leave a legacy. They didn't live with something certainty, right? They gone through many things that is uncertain. Over time they changed, and over time they brought something to the humanity that changed the humanity, right? Including even most popular scientists in the world, because they like to go into uncertainty, they became more curious, and the curiosity has started to change even their brain capacity. Okay, and this is very important because this will start to structure our brain. Once we start to live with uncertainty, we start to build